Okay, let's take a look at this one. Number 1 here. There are 30 students in a class. 4/5 of them have brown eyes. So 4/5 have brown eyes. Okay. So whenever you see a fraction, sometimes kids go, "Oh man, I don't even know what that means." So you can change fractions and decimals and percents to each other. So this is 80%. Okay. So if there's 30 kids in the class and 80% have brown eyes, you're going to be thinking, well, if there's a test out of 30 marks, I probably need, I don't know, 25 or so, somewhere around there, right? Well, how do we actually do it though? So when we multiply fractions, we're basically trying to find what is 4/5 of 30, okay? Now, generally speaking in math, when you see the word of, it means multiply. So all we have to do here is multiply 4/5 by 30. Now, the rules for multiplying fraction is top by top and bottom by bottom. So top by top, all right, bottom by bottom. Okay, so the problem here is that 30 does not have a denominator. So here's a little trick. Just write it over 1. That's all you have to do. So now the rule for multiplying fractions is top by top, bottom by bottom. So you're going to get 120 over 5, which equals 24. So 24 students have brown eyes. Okay? To get from here to here, you basically put this in, this is a fraction, it's improper because the top is bigger than the bottom. So how many times does 5 go into 120? Basically, you're converting an improper to a mixed number. But in this case, because it works out and there's no remainder, it is just 24 students. Okay? Next one here. Let's see. A pitcher of orange juice is 2/3 full. If 4 students equally share the juice, what fraction of the full pitcher does each student get? Okay, so you've got a jug of juice here. I'm going to draw it. And it is 2/3 full of orange juice, even though this is clearly apple juice. Okay, so I've split it into thirds here. Okay, and this is 1/3, and this is a 2/3, and then 1/3 of it's gone. So 4 kids are going to share this. So to do that, all we have to do is divide. So how do we divide fractions? So basically we're taking 2/3 and we're going to divide it by 4. So 2/3 divided by 4. Now, what we do is we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, now right now it's not a fraction, so I can make it one with this little trick. There, now it's a fraction, and we never actually divide, we multiply by the reciprocal. So it becomes 2/3, that one stays the same, but we multiply it by that one flipped. Okay, and now we just have simple top by top, bottom by bottom, and we get 2/12. And lowest terms, 1/6. So they would each get 1/6 of the full pitcher of juice if 4 of them split 2/3. Okay, they each get 1/6. Next one, takes 4/5 of the roll of ribbon to wrap 6 packages. What fraction of a roll does it take to wrap 3 packages? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is figure out how much it takes how much of a roll it takes to wrap 1 package. So if it takes 4/5, okay, to do 6, we can divide it by 6 to find out how much it would be for 1. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, so 4/5 times 1/6 gives us 4/30. Okay, so that's for one of them. Okay, and we can put that in lowest terms. It takes 2/15 of a roll. So not a lot. Like that's, when you see a fraction, it's kind of hard to put it in the context of a roll of ribbon, because like how much is that? 2/15? What? So again, change it to a percent. Okay, so this is about 1/7, about 15%. So yeah, it takes if you had a full roll of ribbon, it takes you about 14% of it, 15% of it to roll 1 package, okay, or to wrap 1 package. And then now we can figure out all right, I'm going to multiply this by 3 because the question is asking how much does it take to wrap 3. So 2/15 times 3, write it over 1, top by top, bottom by bottom, we get 6/15, which is 3, whoops, which is 2/5 of a roll. Now there's another way to do it. If it takes 4/5 to do 6, we can just divide this by 2 because half, right? 3 is half of 6. So if it takes this amount for 6, we can just divide this by 2. So 4/5 divided by 2, and you're going to get the same answer. I kind of did it the long way here just to show you a bit more math. But yeah, you get the same answer. Okay, next one, number 4. Tamar had half an apple pie in her refrigerator. She ate 1/4 of this piece of pie. What fraction of, okay, we see that word, of a whole pie did she eat? So I'm going to draw a picture for you. So she had half an apple pie. Okay, this looks delicious. So she had this much. Okay, this much was gone. And she had this, and I'll put some, I don't know how to draw an apple. Okay, this is terrible. It looks like a crappy pizza. All right, whatever. So this is the pie. This is empty. This is I'm going to start again. This is terrible. I think it makes more sense if I shade stuff in. So this is a pie. Oh, this is awful. I'm going to make it green, okay? There. Saved by the fill function here. Okay, so she has this amount of pie. She ate 1/4 of this piece. Okay, so we're going to split it into 4 pieces. So she ate this amount. Okay, how many of these size pieces would fit to fill the entire pie? Well, this is 1/8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, right? So it's 1/8. The answer is 1/8. And we can also use just the fractions, and we're going to multiply. The word of is there, so we know it's multiplication. So 1/4 of a half, top by top, bottom by bottom, and we get 1/8. Number 5, Earth turns on its axis once every 24 hours. How many hours does Earth take to complete 2 1/4 turns? Okay, so if 1 turn is 24 hours, 2 turns would be 48 hours, and then we just have that one little quarter left over. So what's 1/4 of 24? If I had $24 and I split it between 4 people, how much money would each person get? $6, right? 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 24. So I just did it in our head. I said, well, it's going to be 48 for the 2 full turns plus the 6 left over. So it will take 54 hours to rotate 2 1/4 times. Okay. The other way we can do this is using fractions. So I got 2 1/4 times 24. So I'm going to change this 2 1/4 to an improper fraction. So it's going to be 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So I'm going to have 9/4 times 24 hours, but I'm going to write it as a fraction. And we just have to multiply top by top and the bottom by bottom. And when we do that, we're going to get, let's see here, 4 on the bottom and 216 on top. And if we reduce that, we're going to get 54. Okay. Number 6, it takes 2 1/2 scoops of flour to make 1 cake. How many cakes do 15 scoops of flour make? Okay, so I want to make 1 cake, and I'm going to need 2 1/2 scoops of flour. Okay, great. But let's say there's a quick mad rush at the bakery, and they're like, quick, we need to make as many cakes as we can. Okay, it takes 2 1/2 scoops to make 1 cake. Oh, and then you go to the shelf, and you look, and you're like, oh no, we only have 15 scoops of flour left. Someone's like, quick, how many cakes is that? We got to sell. The customers are going crazy here. So basically it's saying, like, if we have this amount and it takes 2 1/2 scoops to make 1 cake, we're basically saying how many times does 2 1/2 scoops fit inside of 15 scoops? And that will tell us how many cakes we can make, right? If we only had 5 scoops, then that would be 2 cakes, right? Because 2.5 plus 2.5, or 250 plus 250 is 5. So if it was 5 scoops, it would be 2 cakes. But we have more than 5, we have 15. So this is division. You could figure it out just by adding 2.5 until you hit 15, right? And you're going to do that 6 times. So the answer is 6, but if you aren't sure, here's how we do it with fractions. So 2.5 we're going to change to a mixed number. Sorry, improper. And we are dividing the number of scoops by 5/2. Okay, this is the amount of flour we have, the big amount, and we want to know how many 2.5 scoops fit inside of it, right? How many? So it's division. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So 15/1 stays, times, flip the second one. Okay, top by top, bottom by bottom, we get 30/5, and 30/5 is 6 cakes. Okie dokie. All right. Bye.